Hey guys, it's Claus. Welcome back to another episode. Got a question for you. Do you guys care about your stats? Do you know, like, are you a tomato? Are you red? Are you green or blue? Or are you purple? Are you a unicom? Or do you even know what those colors mean? Do you even give a shit? There's so many people that care so much about their stats in this game. Now, the game has lots of stats in it. You get XP in your battles. You get personal rating in your garage and how well you're doing throughout your tanking career. But there's this thing called what everyone follows, the community follows, it seems. It's this thing called WN8. Have you ever heard of that? I'm going to show you how to not get very good WN8. I'm going to show you how to play like shit here in my light tank. You watch that and I'll keep talking about WN8. I'm in this Russian light tank and I'm going to move up the spot, which is what you're supposed to do in a light tank, right? I'm going to try and help the team win here by getting some spotting assist. There's this WN8 bullshit. Oh, I wanted to move up here and spot some more, but I got spotted. I better head back. Holy shit, the enemies must have someone spotting. And I'm stunned. And I haven't lit anyone. And I'm stunned again. I'm stunned again. Whoa, I'm stunned again. I'm not going to use my health potion. Shit. The life of a light tank. Let's get back in the bush and try and spot. I guess I can't move up. There's probably another spotter on the enemy team. Did you know that it's in like Quickie Baby's mod pack comes with this WN8 thing that shows you the colors of everyone while you're playing. Like you look at my list there. I don't use any mods or any add-ons. So this is like the vanilla game you're looking at. You see the team lists there? All the names are in white. Well, if you have this mod, it's in Quickie Baby's mod pack, and it shows everyone's WN8 and color codes everyone. Green, red, blue. Red is your shit. Green is your almost practically shit. Blue is your pretty good, and purple is your unicom, according to the WN8 statistic. WN8, and WN8 is just this independent number that's this independent source has come up with to rank players. And the funny thing is the calculation to calculate WN8 is nothing like the calculation to calculate your XP that you earn in a battle or your personal rate, the stuff that you actually get rewarded for in the game. Like right here, I'm doing so. Look, I'm up to 1,000 spotting assists just sitting here in this bush, highlighting targets. There you go. There's another one's dead. I'm doing what I'm supposed to do in a light tank, right? Boy, I'm a great player. I should have a very high WN8 doing this. No, wrong. According to the WN8 measurement, what I'm doing right now, I am shit. My WN8 is horrible. I suck. Let me explain. The WN8 formula, the way it's calculated, the most important thing in that calculation is how much damage you do. And I've done none so far, so my WN8 is pretty much 0 in this game. It all depends on the higher damage. Damage is by far the most important thing. There's some other factors that are far less important. How many kills you get is another factor, but it's not very important compared to damage. And there is a spotting element to it, but it's not spotting assist. That's not in the WN8 calculation. It's how many spots you get. It's not that important. Damage is the most important thing. But if you run out and get spot 4 or 5 tanks at the beginning, and then just do those initial spots and then run away, that goes into, then you've got a good WN8 for doing that. Spotting assist is not even part of it. If I sit in this bush all game and get 10,000 spotting assists, my WN8 sucks. So how does it work? Let me explain a little bit more. Each tank, according to the WN8 people, has an expected amount of damage that it should do, an expected amount of kills that it should get, and say an expected amount of tanks it should spot before anyone else. And so there's all these expected numbers. And then you play your tank. And that's based on everyone playing the game. And then you play your tank, and if you get more damage than the expected number, which is kind of the average of everyone, then your coefficient for that factor is above 1. If you get less damage than the expected in that tank, then your coefficient for that factor is below 1. If you get more kills than the expected for that tank, then your coefficient for that factor of the formula is above 1. If you get less kills, your coefficient is below 1. If you get more initial spots than the expected for that tank, your coefficient for that factor of the formula is above 1. If you get less, it's below 1, and on and on. And I'm stunned again as I talk, because I like to be stunned in my light tank. What have I done in this game so far? I've got 3,000 spotting assist. Doesn't get included in WN8. And I've only done 192 damage, which is way below the expected in this tank. So according to WN8, I suck so far. Then anyways, all those coefficients and all those factors are weighted, damage being way more important than any of them. And then the final number comes out. It's WN8. And then those numbers are graduated and colors are applied. So you can be a tomato or you can be a purple unicorn. The trouble is, what it does is it makes people chase this stat as if they're fucking insane. And you'll watch some of the unicoms play and the pros, and it's so pathetic sometimes because they know, okay, spotting assist doesn't matter. Damage matters the most. Initial spotting does have a factor, and kills have a factor. So you'll see their play style. The game will start, and they'll say, oh, I'm just going to rush out here and get the initial spots. So they rush out and do a little loop and get the initial 6-7 tanks they spot, which goes in. So that tank was expected to spot 2 enemies on average. You rush out and get 5 initial spots. Oh, you're a unicom, even though you turn around and run away after the initial spots, and then just go at a safe place in the back and farm some damage. Because you have no intention of going up there and sitting in a bush and spotting for your team and getting spotting assist and playing the role of your tank. Maybe you're playing a light tank. And well, is the light tank role sometimes to move up and spot for your team? Well, no, fuck that role. If you're chasing WN8, that's the worst thing you can do. And you'll never see any of them doing that. It all comes down, well, you got to get the damage. You got to get the damage. It's all about the damage. And I'm not saying that someone with a really high-end WN8 is a bad player. No, on the contrary, you have to be really good to get a high WN8. But this stupid formula makes people chase just those stats that are included in the formula, which are not necessarily lead you to play the... We've lost all the roles of the tanks. Light tanks, medium tanks, heavy tanks, the spotting role for the... Fuck that. Everyone's... The stat chasers, it's all about damage. It's all about just rushing up, and it doesn't matter if someone else is spotting for you. If you play the game and you do 3,000 damage, but you're at the back, you don't get a lot of XP for that. The people doing the spotting get a lot of the XP, but not WN8. You sit at the back and do 3,000 damage, which is above the expected value for your tank. You're a purple unicorn. And it's quite pathetic, really, that somehow this number, and you can download it in a mod and show it while you're playing. It's quite pathetic that it's taken over the people's behavior in the game. Not everyone, but some people. Now look at this game. I got patrol duty. I'm on top with XP. Why? Because I did 3,800 spotting assists. But according to WN8, if you load that game and check the WN8, I sucked because I didn't do very much damage. So that was bad. I had a shit game. I'm a tomato. And have you heard the term stat padding? You know, we throw that around, kind of a joke. You're a stat pattern. Well, the term actually means someone who is trying to get, and we're talking about WN8 usually, trying to get that statistic higher by playing the game in a fashion that only increases WN8. Now here I go on my light tank again, and I'm moving to a bush to spot some enemies to do some damage assist. And look at this Type 64 sitting on that little ledge behind me, and he's going to just take shot after shot after shot at the people that I spot here. And I'm going to get lots of spotting assistance, and he's going to do a lot of damage here. We're both in light tanks. His WN8 is going to be through the roof because he's taking the shots and getting a lot of damage, which is a good thing he is. I'm not saying he shouldn't. And I'm doing all the spotting and getting all the spotting assist, and my WN8 will suck. This is teamwork. He will end up purple for this game, and I'll end up as a tomato. So the point is, this WN8 bullshit, if it makes people chase the stat, they start playing the game, they forget about the roles of the tanks and actually playing the game for fun and playing different classes of tanks differently depending on what your role is or what you should do for the team. It becomes all me, 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 me. Why the fuck should you have to have it in the game anyways? Like, why does someone have to have everyone's WN8 in color on the screen? Like, why? Well, I know why, because they think it'll give them an advantage, right? Oh, look at the purple guys on the enemy team. We should focus them first, especially if you're in artillery, right? You want to fucking pound the purple guy all game and make his game miserable because you have this mod loaded. You can look at your teammates at the beginning of the game. If they're all red, you can type GG, it's a loss, we do tomatoes, and insult everyone and be toxic. You could be a toxic prick because you have a WN8 highlighted on your screen. Or at the end of the game, when it's 2 versus 2 or 3 versus 3, you know, these some Unicoms will say, "Oh, I like to have the dub, so I know what I'm dealing, whether I'm dealing with a good player or a weak player, just to have an advantage." It's just, to me, it promotes toxicity, insulting the red players, getting upset because your team has more red players, the other team has more blue players. Oh, matchmaking's fucked, it's a loss, it's rigged. It's all of this bullshit. And forcing, somehow people are so just completely possessed with trying to get this number, this WN8, quote unquote number, higher, that they'll start playing their tanks, even if they're playing in a tank where their obvious role is to go sit in a bush like I am here and spotting for the team. I'm up to 1700 spotting. That Type 64 is having a great game. No way a stat padding WN8 chasing Unicom would play this tank like this, because so far I've got 0 WN8 almost, except for a couple of initial spots. So to me, having it in the game is, I wish they would just, there's nothing Wargaming can do about WN8 and the guys that provide that information, but why the fuck should it be in the game in real time? Like, why the hell should you have to download some mod so you can have it in there? It just creates toxicity, bad gameplay style. It makes it less of a team game and more of a me, me, me. Look at me, I'm purple, you're all red, I have to carry you. Like, fuck off. We don't need that bullshit. And I wish they'd get rid of it. And that's my 2 bits on WN8. That's all I have to say about that. And these 2 games that I'm showing you, the 2 games, I'm playing a light tank, and I think I've played them in a way, the role of the light tank, on the map that I spawned that and the situation, I played them, I think, the best I could to help the team win. And I'm going to end up with lots of spotting assist and not a lot of damage. And near the end of the game, I'm going to move in here and try and get some mop-up damage. But this isn't, I don't claim that this is a Unicom game or I'm fantastic. I just played the best I could, and I think I helped my team win in both games. If you check the WN8 stat on these games, according to WN8, I sucked. I'm a tomato. And it's just stupid to me. I don't even know why people chase. I obviously don't care about it. I've had so many games where I platooned with subscribers and my recruits in tier 3 and 4, playing the PZ-1C, running around like lunatics and doing almost no damage. And so I don't really give a fuck about the WN8 stat. And I wish people would just not give a fuck about it and just try and play the game and have fun. Look at this. I finished with 1,700, almost 1,800 spotting assist. And I suck, according to WN8. I wish they would just not allow that as a mod to be included in the game. It just promotes toxicity and all that other shit I talked about. Why the fuck do we need WN8 in-game in real time. You want to look it up afterwards and see how you're doing. It's just another measurement, fine. But as a mod in-game in real time, I can't think of one thing that it does to improve this game. Not one thing.